I raised my wine cup and watched the goblet slip from Lu Yunshen's hand, shattering into porcelain shards across the floor. He stared at the young man beside me, the color draining from his face bit by bit. "This young gentleman is—" His voice trembled. I lowered my eyes and spoke evenly. Lu Yunshen stumbled backward, nearly toppling the table behind him. Su Wanyin at his side turned deathly pale, clutching her handkerchief as if her life depended on it. 15 years I'd finally returned to the capital. The palace banquet hummed with strings and flute, the great hall ablaze with lanterns, civil and military officials gathered as one. Yet I saw only this man before me, utterly undone. The refined Hanlin scholar of years past, now such a wreck. General Shen returns victorious from distant campaigns. Drink deeply. The emperor's voice shattered the uncanny silence. I withdrew my gaze, raising my cup respectfully toward the throne. "This humble servant thanks your majesty." Lu Yunshen continued staring at Shen Yan. The lad was handsome, his features bearing some resemblance to my younger self, 15 this year. Just the age for high spirits and confidence. "Yana, pay your respects to his majesty." Xiao Jingyuan's deep voice came from beside me. Shen Yan knelt properly and kowtowed. Shen Yan, heir to the Western region's throne, pays homage to the son of heaven of Great Zhou. The hall erupted in gasps. I heard Su Wanyin's sharp intake of breath, saw Lu Yunshen sway on his feet. Xiao Jingyuan's hand came to rest on my shoulder, the gesture unmistakably possessive. Tall and broad, he stood behind me like a shield. "General Shen and I have fought shoulder to shoulder in the Western regions for over a decade," Xiao Jingyuan addressed the emperor. "Now that peace has come, I've come to petition your majesty for General Shen's hand to seal the friendship between our kingdoms forever." I didn't look at Lu Yunshen's reaction. No need. When he'd taken Su Wanyin's hand before me all those years ago, we'd already ended. He'd written me a letter of separation, saying my nature was too fierce, not gentle and considerate like Wanyin, saying I was always brandishing weapons, nothing like a woman at all. I remember not crying that day. I'd taken the divorce papers, sliced open my palm with a dagger, and written 8 characters in blood. "Marital bonds severed. We meet not in life or death." Then I'd petitioned the emperor for a commission to garrison the Western regions. Life or death immaterial. 15 years of slaughter, 15 years of blood and battle. I'd transformed from a cast-off wife into the general who pacifies the West, commanding 100,000 troops and him. He'd married his precious moonlight as he'd wished, risen to chief grand counselor, should have been riding high. "General Shen," the emperor's voice pulled me from my thoughts. "Prince Xiao speaks truly." I knelt. "In reply to your majesty, yes." "Excellent." The emperor laughed heartily. "We approve. Let the Ministry of Rites prepare the wedding tomorrow." After 3 rounds of wine, I rose to take my leave. Passing Lu Yunshen, he suddenly seized my sleeve. "Xingxi," the first time in 15 years he'd spoken my name. I stopped and turned to face him. His eyes had reddened, his lips trembling. "Let go," I said. "The child. How old is the child?" he asked quietly, unable to hide his urgency. I looked at him for a long moment. Xiao Jingyuan strode over and knocked his hand away. "Minister Lu, kindly show some restraint." I turned and left the hall, Shen Yan following close behind. Long after we'd gone, I could still feel Lu Yunshen's gaze boring into my back. The night wind blew. I closed my eyes. Home at last, finally home. The general's residence, gifted by imperial decree, was vast, far larger than the Lu family compound of years past. I stood in the courtyard, gazing at the garden full of crabapple blossoms. I recalled how when I'd married into the Lu family, he'd promised to fill the courtyard with crabapples because I loved them. The crabapples never materialized. Instead, he'd planted peonies everywhere for Su Wanyin. "Mother," Shen Yan handed me a cup of tea. "Drink something warm. The night's grown cold." I accepted it and ruffled his hair. "If you are tired, go rest." "I am not tired." He sat beside me, that Minister Lu earlier. The way he stared at me was peculiar. "Pay him no mind," I said. "He is nothing to us." Shen Yan nodded, then asked after a pause, "Mother, are you truly going to marry the prince?" I smiled. "What is this? You disapprove?" "Of course not." He waved his hands. I just think Father Prince has waited for you all these years. Can't have been easy. No, not easy at all. 15 years ago I'd arrived in the western regions, battered and broken, certain I'd die in that wasteland. Xiao Jing Yuan had saved me, given me troops, fought alongside me through blood and death. We'd met on the battlefield, come to know each other between life and death. When I fell pregnant with Shen Yan, he'd said he wanted to marry me. I'd refused. I still had campaigns to fight. Couldn't let the people of the western regions say their king had married a cast-off wife from Great Zhou. So he'd waited through the wars, waited until now. Mother, Shen Yan began suddenly. That Minister Lu, is he? Some things, I interrupted. Uns past are past. Just then knocking came from the main gate. A servant reported that Madame Su had sent someone with a calming tonic. I took the bowl, walked to the gate, and poured it straight onto the stone lion's pedestal. Tell your mistress Shen Qingxi cannot accept such kindness. The maid's face went white. She clutched the empty bowl and fled. Shen Yan suppressed a laugh. Mother, might this not be rather? Rather what? I turned to go inside. He'd best not provoke me, or else. Or else what? I left the thought unfinished, but I knew what was coming would come. Back in my chambers, I opened an old wooden box containing a letter of separation. The paper's edges had yellowed, the bloodstains long since turned brown, but the 8 characters marital bonds severed, we meet not in life or death, remained clear. Years ago, Lu Yunshen had presented me with this document demanding I sign and seal it. He'd said, Qingxi Wanyin carries my child. I must marry her. We were husband and wife once. Let's part amicably, I'd asked. So you've got another woman pregnant, had a child. And now you are divorcing me, he'd said. Don't put it like that, Wanyin isn't. I hadn't let him finish. I'd drawn my dagger and slashed my palm, blood dripping onto the divorce papers. When I wrote those 8 characters in blood, his face had turned ashen. Qingxi, why go to such extremes? I'd looked up at him. Lu Yunshen, remember this, in this life, we're finished. Then I turned to petition the emperor to send me to garrison the western regions. The entire court had thought me mad. The western regions then were riddled with rebellions. Going there meant certain death. But I'd gone anyway. I'd gripped my blade and gone with a heart full of hatred, carving out a bloody path. Those years I'd feared nothing, not death. Rather, those who wanted me dead had grown afraid. I'd fought with increasing ferocity, rising from a mere captain of 1,000 to general who pacifies the West. And now I'd returned. I placed the divorce papers back in the box and lay down. Tomorrow I'd pay a visit to that Madame Su. Lu Yunshen came in the dead of night. When the gate guards reported it, I was practicing swordplay. Moonlight like water, blade light like snow. Show him in, I said. Shen Yan emerged from his room asking if I wanted him to stay. I shook my head, gesturing for him to rest. When Lu Yunshen entered the courtyard, his steps were slow and hesitant. He still wore his court robes. Clearly he'd come straight from the palace. This late, Minister Lu, to what do I owe the honor? I sheathed my sword. His mouth worked. I wanted to ask about Shen Yan. I sat on a stone stool. What about Shen Yan? He took 2 steps forward. The child. How old is he? 15. 15, he murmured to himself. When we divorced, were you? Minister Lu, I cut him off. If you've something to ask, ask plainly. Don't dance about. He gritted his teeth. The child. Is he mine? I laughed until his face flushed red, then white. Lu Yunshen, have you lost your wits? I said. We divorced 15 years ago. Shen Yan is 15. Do the maths. How exactly did I conceive him? Did I somehow divine you'd divorce me and get pregnant in advance? His face went paler still. No, that is not right. He spoke urgently. The child resembles you. Perhaps what? I stood. Perhaps I was already pregnant when you divorced me, making you even more of a bastard. I don't mean. Then what do you mean? He couldn't get the words out. I moved closer, eyes boring into his. Lu Yunshen, when you held Su Wanyin and said she carried your child, did you spare a thought for me? When you called me too aggressive, not gentle, not considerate, nothing like Su Wanyin's sweet understanding, When you made me sign those divorce papers, did you consider my feelings, Qingxi? Now you come asking whose child he is. My voice went cold. None of your concern. His hand shook. I know I wronged you, but the child, if he is mine, he is not. How can you be certain? Because Shen Yan is an orphan I adopted in the western regions, I said. He was already 3 years old then. 3, he was calculating. That is the year we divorced. Precisely the year we divorced, I said. I encountered a village massacre in the western regions. Everyone dead but him. I pitied him and took him in. Half truth, half lie. Shen Yan was indeed my own, but I had no intention of letting Lu Yunshen know. He didn't deserve to know. Lu Yunshen stood frozen, speechless for ages. If there is nothing else, I said, Minister Lu should go. It is late. He seemed about to speak when footsteps sounded beyond the gate. Xiao Jingyuan strode in, his face darkening at the sight of Lu Yunshen. Minister Lu pays a midnight visit. For what purpose? Lu Yunshen glanced between us, then departed without a word. Xiao Jingyuan came to my side. What did he want? Asking about the child. What did you tell him? Lied, and said Yana was adopted. I turned to him. You are not angry. Xiao Jingyuan sighed and drew me into his arms. Silly woman, why would I be angry? Yana is our son. That is fact, but do you truly not want him to know? Number, my tone brooked no argument. He doesn't deserve it. Xiao Jingyan kissed my forehead. Very well, as you wish. In the distance, Lu Yunshen's silhouette vanished into the night. I watched that direction, feeling nothing. Su Wanyan's poetry gathering was lavish. Every lady of consequence in the capital attended. When I received the invitation, Xiao Jingyan frowned. It is a trap. He urged me not to go, but I insisted. Su Wanyan had waited 15 years, time we met. The gathering took place in the Lu residence's rear garden when I arrived. The peonies were in full, glorious bloom. Su Wanyan wore pale pink robes, conversing with several noblewomen. Seeing me, her smile froze momentarily. How gracious of General Shen to attend my humble home is honored. She approached and curtsied, perfectly proper. Madame Su is too kind, I replied. The ladies around us were sizing me up, whispering amongst themselves. Is this the general who pacified the West? I heard she killed countless people in the western regions. Look at the calluses on her hands, hardly womanly at all. I pretended not to hear, finding a seat. Su Wanyan personally poured my tea. The general has traveled so far. You must be weary. Not at all. I accepted the cup. I trust Madame Su has been well these years. She smiled. Thanks to my husband, tolerably peaceful. Good to hear. The atmosphere grew awkward. A censor's daughter broke the tension, suggesting they begin composing poetry. Su Wanyan nodded, having servants bring writing materials. The first round's theme was spring outing. Several young ladies took up their brushes, producing verses about spring breezes caressing faces and willows swaying gracefully. When my turn came, I said, I am afraid I can't. Laughter rippled through the gathering. General Shen has spent a lifetime in military campaigns. Naturally, no time for literary pursuit. Su Wanyan sounded sympathetic, though it was clearly mockery. Indeed, a lady chimed in. I heard General Shen was once a renowned talent in the capital. Who'd have thought that after so long in the western regions, she can't even compose poetry anymore? I said nothing, simply drank my tea. The second round's theme was boudoir sorrow. Su Wanyan produced a piece titled Longing for My Lord, about a wife pining for her distant husband. Every word a pearl, every line moving, earning thunderous applause. Summonon deliberately asked, Can General Shen manage this one? Such a pity, Su Wanyan said. General Shen was married once. She should understand such feelings best. At these words, everyone's expressions shifted. She was deliberately opening old wounds. I set down my teacup and stood. Since everyone wishes to hear my verse, I'll make a poor showing. Surprised glances all around. I approached the desk and took up the brush. Lone smoke rises straight in the boundless desert. Sever the long river's sun sets round. Soldiers water their horses in the western wind, seeing only yellow sands, never you. Brushed down. The hall fell silent. Those ladies who'd mocked me moments before now found themselves speechless. Magnificent. A general's daughter applauded first. General Shen's poem surpasses all this perfumed boudoir sentiment 100-fold. Others hastily joined in. Su Wanyin's face turned ashen. Wanyin. Lu Yunshan entered from outside carrying a painting. Look, this landscape scroll. I've treasured for years. With so many gathered here, why not share it for everyone's appreciation? As he spoke, his eyes never left me. I saw the painting and inwardly sneered. I'd painted it at 16. Lu Yunshan unrolled it, saying proudly, "A reclusive master created this. The brushwork is vigorous, the artistic conception profound. A rare treasure indeed." I approached and examined it carefully. "Minister Lu," I said, "doesn't this painting have a seal at the corner?" He froze. "Yes, there is one." "Might I see it?" He hesitated before handing it over. I pointed to the seal in the corner. "This is the Shen family's private seal. I painted this when I was 16. "What?" Lu Yunshan's face changed. "Impossible." "Why impossible?" I said. "I gave this painting to someone back then. I never imagined it would end up in Minister Lu's hands." Su Wanyin went deathly pale in an instant, because she'd claimed years ago that she'd painted it herself. A token of love for Lu Yunshan. "Qingqi, this..." Lu Yunshan looked between me and Su Wanyin. I returned the painting. "Since it is in Minister Lu's possession, it belongs to Minister Lu. I'll take my leave." Leaving the Lu residence, I heard raised voices behind me. Su Wanyin weeping, Lu Yunshan interrogating her. I departed without a backward glance. Lu Yunshan began sending things to the general's residence. First came a chest of treasures. I had it returned unopened. Second came fine medicinal herbs and tonic. Also returned. Third, a magnificent horse. Returned as well. Undeterred, he began using his authority as Chief Grand Counselor to petition for a higher posthumous title for my father. My father had died in battle. The court had already honored him. This was merely an attempt to curry favor with me. The day of the posthumous honors ceremony, all the civil and military officials attended. The emperor personally read the edict, posthumously naming my father Duke who stabilizes the nation. This was an exceptionally high honor. I knelt in the great hall in full armor, not shedding a single tear. "This servant thanks your majesty's gracious favor." Lu Yunshan stood to one side, watching me eagerly, waiting for my gratitude. After the ceremony, the emperor asked if I had anything to say. I rose and declared loudly my father devoted his life to military service. This honor was earned with his blood. I am grateful for your majesty's discernment and all the ministers who have supported the Shen family. I paused, my gaze sweeping past Lu Yunshan as if he were transparent. My father's glory was not bestowed as charity by anyone. It was his due. Silence filled the hall. Lu Yunshan's face went through several colors. He'd hoped this would make me grateful to him, never expecting I wouldn't acknowledge it, wouldn't even mention him. After court dismissed, he caught up with me. "Qingti, you, Minister Lu," I turned to face him. "Did you imagine honoring my father would make me grateful?" You are mistaken," I said. "My father's glory was his own achievement. You merely did what you ought to have done. I know I've done many things wrong before." His words came urgently. "But now I want to make amends." "Make amends?" I laughed. "Lu Yunshan, what makes you think you are still entitled to make amends?" He stood stunned. I took several steps forward. "Years ago, for Su Wanyin's sake, you said I was too strong-willed, that I stifled you. You said she was gentle and considerate, that she made you comfortable. You wanted to marry her, made me sign divorce papers back then. You were utterly resolute." I interrupted. Not a moment's hesitation. "And now, regrets. Discovered she is not as wonderful as you imagined, or discovered I am more useful than her. That is not it. Then what is it?" I stared him down. "Think carefully before you speak. Don't make me despise you." His mouth opened, but no words came. I turned and left, leaving him alone outside the hall. Returning to the residence, Xiao Jingyuan was already waiting. "How did it go?" he asked. "He thought honoring my father would make me grateful." I said, truly naive. Xiao Jingyuan embraced me. "Don't be angry," He is not worth it. I am not angry, I said. Just find it laughable. Something happened to Su Wanyin. Samonin reported to the censorate that she'd conspired with the enemy, secretly communicated with a Western region's tribe, plotting to murder court officials. The evidence was solid, including letters in her own hand. The emperor was furious, ordering Lu Yunshen to investigate thoroughly. That evening, Lu Yunshen came to find me. He looked utterly haggard, eyes bloodshot. Qingxi, I beg one thing of you. He fell to his knees before me. I remained seated. Wanyin, she wouldn't do such things, he said. Samana must have framed her. You spent all those years in the Western regions. You must have ways to uncover the truth. Please, I beg you, help her. I looked at him, suddenly feeling quite sad for him. Lu Yunshen, how long will you keep covering for her? What? Why do you think I survived to return? I said. When I traveled to the Western regions, I faced 3 ambushes, each a narrow escape from death. Do you know who wanted me dead? His face changed. It can't be not Wanyin. It was her. I stood. The Su family had business interests in the Western regions. She used those connections to hire bandits. She wanted me dead so you'd be devoted to her completely, number. He shook his head. Impossible. Nothing's impossible. I said, I've spent years investigating this thoroughly. In fact, I paused. Even back then when she claimed to be carrying your child, that was a lie. What? His head snapped up. She was never pregnant, I said. She merely used medical trickery to fake the symptoms. She wanted to marry you, so she fabricated that lie. Lu Yunshen collapsed to the floor, his whole body trembling, number. Impossible. She was so gentle, so kind. Gentle, kind. I laughed coldly. She has deceived you for 15 years, and you are still not awake. He clutched his head, groaning in anguish. I watched him, feeling no satisfaction, only exhaustion. I've already submitted the evidence to the censorate, I said. The rest is up to you. He looked up, tears streaming down his face. Qingxi, I was wrong. I was truly wrong. Yes, you were wrong, I said. But what use is that? He crawled toward me, trying to grasp my hem. Xiao Jingyuan kicked him away. Lu Yunshen. Xiao Jingyuan's voice was ice. How long will you persist in this harassment? Lu Yunshen looked between Xiao Jingyuan and me, finally saying nothing, staggering away. I leaned against Xiao Jingyuan and closed my eyes. Tired? He asked. Tired? Then pay him no more mind, Xiao Jingyuan said. Let him face it himself. Yes, time he faced it himself. The following days, Su Wanyin's case was the talk of the capital. Some called her a vicious woman. Others said she got her just deserts. The Lu residence gates remained shut, receiving no one. I heard Lu Yunshen had locked himself in his study for 3 days and nights. I didn't go to see him, no need. Years ago he divorced me for Su Wanyin's sake. Now it was his turn to taste this bitter fruit. The day of the trial, Lu Yunshen sat in the hall, expressionless. Su Wanyin knelt below, weeping pear blossoms and rain. My lord, you must believe me. I truly didn't. Enough, Lu Yunshen cut her off. He produced a stack of evidence, laying it before her piece by piece. These secret letters, you wrote them. You took money from Western region's bandits and bribed them to assassinate General Shen, didn't you? Su Wanyin's face went white as paper, and more. Lu Yunshen's voice trembled. When you claimed to carry my child, that was false, wasn't it? My lord, let me explain. Explain what? He slammed his hand on the table. You deceived me for 15 years. Su Wanyin knelt on the floor, finally unable to cry. I only loved you too much, she said. Shen Qingqi was so outstanding, I feared I couldn't compare, so you invented a pregnancy, forcing me to divorce my wife. So you feared she'd return for revenge and hired assassins. Su Wanyin fell silent. Lu Yunshen looked at her, his eyes completely alien. This woman was someone he'd loved deeply for 15 years. For her he'd divorced his wife. For her he'd sacrificed everything, only now discovering it had all been an elaborate fraud. Guards. He spoke. Take Madame Su into custody. Await sentencing. As Su Wanyin was dragged away, she kept looking back. My lord, you can't do this to me. Lu Yunshen didn't look at her, merely sat there dazed. The verdict came swiftly. Su Wanyin had plotted to murder court officials and conspired with the enemy, crimes warranting execution, but the emperor, mindful of Lu Yunshen's position, commuted it to exile 3,000 li, never to return to the capital. The day they escorted her from the city, Lu Yunshen went. Su Wanyin sat in the prison cart, looking at him, asking, my lord, did you ever truly love me? Lu Yunshen was silent for a long while. I did, he said. Unfortunately, I loved wrongly, and Shen Qingzi. Lu Yunshen turned toward the capital. She is my life's greatest regret. The cart rolled away. Lu Yunshen stood at the city gates watching it disappear down the official road. Returning to his residence, he sat in his study all night. Early next morning, he came to the general's residence. Xiao Jingyuan came out to see him. What brings Minister Lu? I wish to see General Shen. She doesn't wish to see you, Lu Yunshen bit his lip. Just one question, after that I'll leave. Xiao Jingyuan said nothing. I emerged from within. What do you want to ask? He looked at me, then at Shen Yan following behind. The child. Is he truly not mine? His voice shook. Shen Yan frowned. What are you on about? Don't mind him, I said. Number Lu Yunshen fell to his knees. Qingzi, I beg you to tell me the truth. Is Yana my child or not? If he is, then I. He is not yours. Xiao Jingyuan stepped forward, pulling me protectively behind him. He is my son, the sole heir to my kingdom in the western regions. Lu Yunshen froze. What? Shen Yan? Xiao Jingyuan looked at the youth, eyes tender. He is mine and Qingji's biological son. 15 years ago, she bore him in the western regions. We've been there all these years. No, Lu Yunshen shook his head. Impossible. What is impossible about it? Xiao Jingyuan said. When you abandoned her, I was there. When you divorced her for another woman, I gave her a home. He grasped my hand, asserting ownership. She is my wife, Yaner is my son. That is fact. Lu Yunshen collapsed, his whole body shaking. He'd lost not just a woman, but a son who should have been his. A son of noble birth. If he hadn't divorced me years ago, that child would be his, but there are no ifs. I looked at him, my heart undisturbed. Lu Yunshen, go home, I said. We're truly finished. He looked up, tears blurring his vision. Qingzi, I regret it. I truly regret it. Too late. I turned back inside. The Su family case deepened with investigation. Not just Su Wanyin, but the entire Su clan was implicated. Conspiring with enemies, corruption, plotting against ministers, each revelation more shocking than the last. The emperor was enraged, ordering thorough investigation. The presiding judge, Lu Yunshen himself. This was the emperor's punishment and opportunity both, to let him personally sever these karmic bonds. I heard he was unnaturally calm during the proceedings, the calm of dead ashes. The Shu family members knelt in the hall, wailing dramatically, saying Su Wanyin had been coerced, that they were innocent. Lu Yunshen said nothing, merely presented evidence piece by piece. Finally, he took up his brush to write the verdict. The Su clan conspired with foreign enemies, plotted against court officials, embezzled corruptly. Their crimes heinous. Su Wanyin exiled 3,000 li, Su family men sent to frontier garrison, womenfolk to the teaching bureau. His hand trembled, but his calligraphy remained perfect. When the verdict reached the emperor, His Majesty studied it at length. Minister Lu, no regrets. This servant has no regrets, Lu Yunshen said. The law stands immovable. No room for personal favor. Good, the emperor nodded. We approve, execute the sentence. Execution day, half the capital turned out to watch. Su Wanyin sat in the prison cart covered in injuries. Seeing Lu Yunshen, a flash of hope lit her eyes. But Lu Yunshen merely stood there expressionless, watching the cart depart. Some called him heartless. Others said he was consumed with regret. I said nothing, because I knew for him this was the cruelest punishment. personally destroying everything he'd once loved, personally admitting how utterly wrong he'd been. That evening, Xiao Jingyuan asked, "Will you forgive him?" I shook my head. "Number, then do you hate him?" I considered. "Not anymore." Xiao Jingyuan pulled me close. "Then how do you feel now?" "Free," I said. "Finally free." Yes, after all these years the knot had finally loosened, not because of his regret, not because of Su Onyan's fate, but because I'd discovered I no longer cared. The Shen Qingxi who'd wept for him, grieved for him, she'd died in the western region's wind and sand. Now I was the wife of the western region's king, the general who pacifies the West. I had a husband who loved me, a dear son. I needed neither his remorse nor his restitution. I needed only what I now possessed. That was enough. Next day, Lu Yunshen submitted his resignation. He said he'd failed to judge character, was unworthy of imperial grace, and requested to resign and return to private life. The emperor didn't approve it, but granted him extended leave. From that day, Lu Yunshen rarely left his residence. The occasional person who glimpsed him said he'd aged tremendously, his eyes hollow as if his soul had fled. Some said every day he copied out a poem in his study, the very poem I'd composed at the poetry gathering. When I heard this, I merely smiled. The emperor issued an edict granting me and Xiao Jingyuan marriage, the wedding set for the 8th of next month. The Ministry of Rites had already begun preparations. The capital buzzed with gossip. Some said I'd made a fine match, others that the Western region's king wasn't worthy of me. I paid it no mind, spending my days practicing swordplay, reading, occasionally teaching Shenyang military strategy. That day, Lu Yunshen came again. He stood outside the gates without entering, merely having someone deliver a note. It read, "I'll attend the wedding, not to obstruct but only to see you happy with my own eyes." I read it and burned it. "Mother," Shenyang asked, "does that Minister Lu still feel toward you?" "Some people, some things," I interrupted. "Once past are past. Don't speak of them again. But his state is no concern of ours," I said. "Remember, we need only care about those we care about. Others don't matter." Shenyang nodded, half understanding. The day before the wedding, the emperor summoned me. "Shen Qingqi," the emperor said, "we would ask you something." "Your Majesty, please speak." "Are you certain you wish to marry Prince Xiao?" "Yes." The emperor fell silent briefly. "We've heard Lu Yunshen has been shut in his residence, reflecting on his errors. Does he still feel toward you?" "Your Majesty," I interrupted, "this servant and Minister Lu have long been divorced. No ties remain. This servant wishes only to live well with Prince Xiao and my child." The emperor sighed. "Very well. Since your mind's made up, we shan't prevent it. Only as for Lu Yunshen, this servant thanks your Majesty's concern," I said. "But Minister Lu's affairs are no concern of this servant's." The emperor nodded. "Go then, prepare well for the wedding." Leaving the hall, I saw Lu Yunshen standing beneath a distant colonnade. He watched me from afar, eyes full of pleading. I turned and left without stopping. Number Chapter 10. Grand Wedding Day. Chang'an was festooned with lanterns and decorations. I wore red robe, crowned with a phoenix coronet, seated in the bridal sedan. Xiao Jingyuan rode a magnificent horse, spirited and proud. Shenyang followed behind, face wreathed in smiles. As the procession passed the Lu residence, I heard someone say Minister Lu stood outside his gates watching the sedan, tears streaming down his face. I didn't lift the curtain to look. No need. That person had long since left my heart. At the bridal chamber, Xiao Jingyuan lifted my veil. "Any regrets?" he asked. "Regret what?" "Marrying me." I smiled. "The rightest decision I've made in this life was marrying you." He kissed my forehead. "I'll treat you well all my days." I know. Outside the window, firecrackers burst, festive and lively. 1 year later, the western regions. I sat in the palace study reviewing official documents. Xiao Jingyuan entered carrying a letter. "From the capital," he said. I took it, glancing at the signature. From a general's wife I'd once fought alongside. The letter said Lu Yunshen had resigned his position. He'd surrendered his post as chief grand councillor, moving alone to an old estate outside the city. Receiving no visitors, Sumanu, who'd gone to call, said he spent his days copying paintings, all of desert wastes and yellow sand. And that poem, he'd transcribed it countless times. Lone smoke rises straight in the boundless desert, the long river's sun sets round. Soldiers water their horses in the western wind, seeing only yellow sands, never you. At the letter's end, the general's wife wrote that he'd trapped himself in memories. I finished reading and folded it slowly. Well, Xiao Jingyuan asked. He lives his life, I live mine, I said, each in their own peace. Xiao Jingyuan laughed. I knew you'd say that. He came behind me, embracing me. Ever regretted it? Regretted what? Not forgiving him back then. I turned to look at him. I never regret my decisions. Good then. He kissed my hair. Come, Yana's waiting outside. Says he wants to teach us to ride that new spirited horse. I stood and took his arm, heading out. In the courtyard, Shen Yan had already prepared the horses, now 16. He'd grown increasingly handsome, bearing not just my features but Xiao Jingyuan's heroic bearing. Father Prince, Mother Queen, come quickly. He waved to us. Xiao Jingyuan and I exchanged smiles and went over together. The sun was setting, golden light flooding the entire palace. Our family of 3 rode across the boundless grasslands, wind carrying the scent of green grass. I closed my eyes, breathing deeply. This was the life I wanted. Not the capital's wealth, not those hypocritical niceties, but having people who loved me and people I loved beside me. That was enough. As for Lu Yunshen and how he was faring, I didn't care. Years ago he'd chosen Su Wanyin. I'd chosen to leave. Now he'd chosen to live in memories. I'd chosen to look forward. Everyone must answer for their choices. His remaining years would pass in regret. Mine would pass in happiness. This was the best ending. Night fell. We returned to the palace. Shen Yan pestered Xiao Jingyuan to tell stories of his youth in battle. I sat to one side watching father and son laugh together, my heart utterly tranquil. Far away, 1,000 li distant in the capital in the Lu residence study, a man sat alone by candlelight. Before him lay a painting, a poem. The painting showed endless yellow sand. The poem spoke of soldiers never seeing you. He gripped his brush, once again writing those familiar lines on paper. Finished, he gazed at those characters, tears finally falling. Qingji, he murmured, I was wrong, but no amount of regret, no flood of tears could bring that person back. If this resonated, do like and share this story of resilience and renewal. Subscribe for more tales of love, loss, and everything between. Your thoughts in the comments are always welcome. We value your perspective. A parting thought.